A backyard barbecue, summer, 1977. A woman pulls a square of film from a camera and shakes it in the warm air. For 60 seconds, nothing. Then a face rises out of the gray, sharpening before her eyes. No darkroom, no waiting, no lab. The picture simply appeared in her hand, still warm, already real. This was the miracle Polaroid sold the world, the present, made permanent in a minute. But far away, in a quiet laboratory, a sliver of silicon was learning to see light without chemistry. The instant photo had conquered time. Soon, time would erase it. If stories like this one, the forgotten machines that quietly built our world, are what you came for, subscribe and stick around. The next one is already developing. The numbers told the story of an empire. By 1978, Polaroid ruled a country addicted to the instant image. At its peak, the company employed over 20,000 people and earned more than $2 billion a year. Its founder, Edwin Land, held over 500 patents, second only to Thomas Edison. The instant photograph was not a niche product. It was a ritual, the centerpiece of birthdays, weddings, and Christmas mornings across the Western world. But the miracle carried a hidden cost. Every Polaroid was a tiny chemical machine, used once and thrown away. The film carried its own developer, its own dyes, its own battery sealed in the pack. Each print cost money. Each image existed exactly once. You could not copy it, could not send it, could not make 10 more without paying again. The magic of the instant was also its cage. Chemistry could be spent, never duplicated. This was the heart of the problem. One perfect object, or infinite copies. The world was beginning to want something Land could never sell. Pictures that cost nothing to reproduce, that traveled anywhere, that lived as pure information. The instant print gave you one warm thing to hold. The future wanted everything, everywhere, forever. While Polaroid printed money in Cambridge, the seed of its undoing was already growing in New Jersey. In 1969, 2 engineers at Bell Labs sketched a new device on a chalkboard in under an hour. Willard Boyle and George Smith called it the charge-coupled device. A small silicon chip that captured light not as a chemical reaction, but as electrical charge. Light struck the surface, and the chip turned brightness into numbers. The principle was almost absurdly simple. No film, no developer, no print at all. Just a grid of tiny wells catching photons, each one reporting how much light it had caught. The image became data, something you could store, erase, and copy endlessly without losing a single detail. It was the opposite of everything Polaroid had built. Chemistry was finite. Silicon was infinite. Film was a thing you held. This was a river of information that could flow anywhere. In 1975, an engineer at Eastman Kodak named Stephen Sasson pushed the idea further. He bolted a CCD sensor to a cassette recorder and a tangle of circuits, building a contraption the size of a toaster. It weighed nearly 4 kilograms and took 23 seconds to record one black and white image onto tape. The picture appeared on a television screen, ghostly and crude, just 100 pixels wide. It was the first true digital camera, and almost nobody believed in it. Sasson showed his invention to Kodak's leadership, expecting wonder. He found resistance. Why, they asked. Would anyone want to look at photographs on a screen? The quality was laughable beside film. The storage was clumsy, the device impossibly heavy. The technology that would one day erase the entire chemical photography industry sat in the hands of the company best placed to build it, and that company saw only a toy. They were not entirely wrong. In 1975, the digital image was a prisoner of its own age. There were no cheap memory chips to hold the data, no bright screens to show it, no networks to carry it. The blueprint existed, but the world that could justify it had not arrived. So the idea waited, gathering dust in patent files and corporate basements, exactly as Land's chemistry had once waited for a country rich enough to want instant memories. The wait lasted 25 years. Then everything arrived at once. memory grew cheap, screens grew sharp, and in 2000, a Japanese company slipped a tiny camera into a mobile phone. Suddenly, the digital image had a home in every pocket. The picture stopped being a thing you held. It became a file you sent. Free, weightless, infinite. The scale was staggering. In film's entire century of existence, humanity captured perhaps a few 100 billion photographs. Within a single year of the smartphone era, people would take more than 1 trillion. The instant print had measured photography in dollars per image. Digital measured it in images per second, flowing without cost, without limit, without end. Polaroid could not compete with free. Its chemistry, once miraculous, now looked slow and expensive beside a screen that showed your picture the instant you pressed the button. In 2001, the company that had defined the instant image filed for bankruptcy. The empire Edwin Land built simply dissolved. The factories fell silent. The rainbow logo faded from the shelves. But the story did not end in the ruins. In 2008, a small band of enthusiasts bought Polaroid's last surviving film factory in the Netherlands, days before its machines were to be scrapped. They called themselves the Impossible Project, because rebuilding the abandoned chemistry from scratch seemed exactly that. For years they failed, producing prints that faded and streaked. Slowly, they got it right. Today, billions of digital photographs are born every single day, glowing on screens and dissolving into clouds. And yet people pay again, willingly, deliberately, for the slow magic of a print that blooms in the hand. The instant camera survived not by winning on speed or cost, but by offering the one thing infinity never could: a single object you could hold. The legacy was never the chemistry. It was the wonder of watching an image arrive, warm and unrepeatable, in your own two hands. Steven Sasson had built the future in a New Jersey lab, and the future had won completely. But the past refused to vanish. It simply became precious. The picture still appears, 60 seconds at a time, slower than the world around it and all the more miraculous for it. If you want more stories like this one, you know what to do.